clear that the Republican legislature is aiming to choke the life out of public education. I'm declaring this state of emergency because you need to know what's happening.
That is North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper, a Democrat. He doesn't like a Republican bill that would allow school choice, but the governor faces a small problem. Republicans now have a veto-proof majority in the state legislature, so they could pass their school choice bill over his objections. That eliminates income eligibility limits for voucher recipients to get taxpayer funding to attend K through 12 private school. Vouchers would now be awarded based on a sliding scale, with lower income families getting the most money. It would also sharply expand state funding for the program. Democrats don't like that much. North Carolina State Senator Michael Garrett is with us now. Good to see you, sir. I appreciate it. Help us understand, when the governor says state of emergency, does that mean he's going to try to override whatever might come out of the state legislature, or could he?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me to talk about this topic. It's one of my passionate issues that I care deeply about. You know, the state of emergency the governor is talking about really relates back to 2010, when this legislature started taking a hammer to public education. And what this bill does, they put the hammer down and they pick up a sledgehammer to our neighborhood public schools. And, you know, calling it a state of emergency is not anything that's founded in law. He's really trying to get the public's attention, because whether you're a parent, you're a grandparent, you're an aunt or an uncle, or just a concerned citizen about the future of North Carolina, you really have to make your voice heard, because, you know, the Republicans have supermajorities in both the House and the Senate. And if they want this to become law, they can. But the people of North Carolina, and 80% of public school kids in North Carolina are in traditional public schools. So it's going to affect a lot of children. And education is just something that we shouldn't be playing around with, because it really determines the opportunity and outcomes for kids. Yeah, for sure. We've seen what has happened over the pandemic, certainly with problems. You say taking a sledgehammer to your neighborhood public school. It also has the potential to take the sledgehammer to the teachers' unions and to the school administration and to State Board of Education, and to sort of upend education in North Carolina. That's what voucher programs really are designed to do. And I'm wondering if this doesn't speak to the thought that there's a lot of parents, at least that I've talked to across the country, that really do want to take a sledgehammer to the education system and to the teachers' unions and to the administrators and to the state boards of education. Do you understand that feeling? You know, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but the reality is, in North Carolina, we don't have a teachers union. We have teachers organize themselves through associations, and that they speak to their legislatures, their local school board members. Our school boards are made up of concerned parents. The State Board of Education is made up of experts in education and concerned parents. So it's not really, I think, a fair portrayal of public education in North Carolina. Some of those, what we often hear from the right, their talking points, because I think when you talk to most parents who have kids in public schools, they're in awe of what teachers are doing with the limited resources and support that we as policymakers are giving them. I think parents are, by and large, very supportive of their neighborhood public schools. You know, in Guilford County, where I represent, I'm a supporter of school choice, and we have incredible choice for our parents in Guilford County. We have amazing magnet schools, we have STEM magnet schools, performing arts magnet schools, and we've got some very strong charter schools. So, you know, I think parents have a significant amount of choice, and even in Guilford County, our Board of Commissioners has really stepped up, where the legislature has dropped the ball to fund and support our public schools and our teachers. And I wish that our leadership in Raleigh would look to some of the things going on at the local level of how we can best support public education to make it work for all the kids of this state.
You're not going to get any argument that local control of things normally leads to better outcomes, as you just described, whether it be local vis-a-vis the states versus the federal government, or local vis-a-vis local counties versus state government. But you laid out this situation, and yet these very same voters who you say should be happy with public education have elected supermajorities in both the House and the Senate. And forgive me, but as I looked back at sort of the history, this is a signature Republican issue. They point to the fact, for example, that the governor sends his kids to private school. A lot of people send their kids to private school. They want to give everybody that choice. They ran on that platform, and the voters gave them supermajorities why isn't it fair that the voters then get what they elected Republicans to put in?
And that is a great question. And I think, you know, when you talk about taking public tax money from public neighborhood schools and sending it to private, unaccountable, non-transparent private schools, people don't support that.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.